What's up YouTube, Capital G here. Guys, gonna show you guys the agent deck list that I have been playing over the last few days. This was inspired by a player named Jesus Suarez. He topped the Anaheim Regionals. I believe it was the Regionals that Starstrike Duelist went to. It was like 800 people or something ridiculous. He got like 5th place. So definitely smashed it at the event. And I'm liking the deck so far. I've made a couple of tweaks to my personal preference, but going to go over the deck and tell you what I like about it so far. You know, guys, that I don't play what I can see or what I consider to be the best deck of the format. So obviously I'm not even going to touch windups right now. So this is the first deck that I've really taken a liking to. Like, it's been consistent on a lot of fronts, and I haven't been getting slaughtered by like the top decks and stuff like that. All right, 3 copies of Agent, 2 copies of Earth, 3 Hyperion, and 3 copies of Shine Mall. Those are all pretty standard. 1 Honest, 2 copies of Herald of the Orange Light. I guess this is a preference thing. You can make this like Thunder Kings, or you can make this Christias or Heralds. Personally, I think that Herald's freaking ridiculous. Like, if you have copies of Shine Ball in your hand, dead Hyperions in your hand, you know, once you use Venus up the first time, the extra copies are pretty much dead. Like, this stops Gores, it stops Max C, like it stops all the things that stop you, so that you can basically just push through and get your game. 1 copy of Baylor, 3 copies of Max C. He ran 2 and 2. But I'm finding that I have Herald of the Orange Light so much that Baylor isn't as good. And because I'm running double track and Gores, like, I'd rather be drawing cards, drawing into those cards, rather than, you know, just taking a neg and stuff like that. 2 copies of Tragodia. I've learned that Tragodia in this deck is ridiculous. The thing about Agents is it rarely ever puts spells and traps on the board, so all the cards sit in your hand. I played against Heroes with this. I played against other decks to where I just have this one Trag on the field and it's like 3,600 and they literally can't kill it. And then you back it up with like a Herald of the Orange Light, or, you know, like a random Baylor, and it's like they can't get around it with effects either. Gores, BLS, and Chaos Sorcerer, obviously, because the deck is running, I believe, 9 Darks. So obviously you're going to throw in the Chaos Engine. 1 copy of Night Assailant, 2 Tour Guides, a Sangan, and Birdman. The reason I'm running Night Assailant is because it gives the deck the much needed spot on removal. I mean, outside of Master Hyperion and the Chaos Monsters, you don't have a lot of straight up spot on removal, and you have none that you can just summon at any given time. So this is your answer to those first turn Thunder Kings. This is an answer to Lagia, and just basically any problem cards. I like the fact that it pops face downs too, so your opponent can have like Snowman Eater, and you can get around that without losing any cards. Birdman. Birdman is a card that I've kind of have a hate and love relationship. You know, anytime that I have the Venus, obviously I love Birdman because it opens up synchro plays so much. I've made Mistworm a couple of times and bounce it seeds back to the extra deck, but you know, sometimes you draw it and it's just like you know, although I do like it with Tour Guide. You can, like, you know, summon Tour Guide, get Sangan, bounce Tour Guide for Birdman, synchro into like Gaia Knight, get your Sangan effect, and get your Tour Guide for next turn. So some of those plays are busted. 3 copy of MST, 1 Mind Control, 1 Heavy Storm, 1 Monster Born, 2 Pot of Duality, 3 copies of Forbidden Lance, 1 Dark Hole, 1 Book of Moon. The 3 MSTs and 3 Lance, like, they're needed because this deck doesn't run back row, especially the 3 Lances. Lances gets around stupid shit like Bottomless and D-Prison, which really don't hurt this deck that much, to be honest, because of Hyperion, because he basically says no to Mirror Force, he says no to D-Prison and stuff like that, and then when you do happen to run into those cards, you have Forbidden Lance. It also gives you a lot of protection, but it's not protection that you have to sit there and, you know, leave it on the field and wait for your opponent to attack 3 turns later or something like that. Protects you against Dark Hole and otherwise. The Pot of Dualities add consistency to the deck. You know, sometimes Agents is prone to getting just god-awful hands, and that's unfortunate when you run 3 Shine Balls, but sometimes you will get those hands where you draw all boss monsters or 2 Shine Balls and a Herald of the Orange Light, and you're just like, I can't do anything with this. Book of Moon was something that I added in just so that I could get over turn 1 Thunder King. This deck has a problem with turn 1 Thunder King, but just about every deck, what I'm learning in the format, does. That's why you have things like Tragodia. That's why you have Night Assailant. The Forbidden Lances can actually help you get around the first turn Thunder King, and actually Venus by itself, because, you know, if you summon Venus and you make the Gotchi play, then your opponent has to either, you know, negate the Gotchi or let Thunder King get run over by the Venus. So either way, you actually end up going plus. I tried Pot of Avarice in this deck, wasn't in love with it. I found that usually I would just draw more copies of you know, Earth and Venus like when I didn't need them or whatever, but so far liking this deck. He ran Allure of Darkness. I was using Allure, hated it. I mean, I never really felt like it was that great, but yeah, everything so far seems pretty solid. Obviously, I'm testing around with it. I might try and get Thunder Kings in this deck. I feel like Archsword Christia is wildly inconsistent. I have seen some builds on Duelist grounds that run multiple Christias with Herald of the Orange Light, but they also run Call to the Haunted, so that you can call back Christia once you dump it with Orange Light. Another thing I will say lastly in closing is, even though I have 2 Gachi Gachis here, I don't think it's necessary. I haven't wanted to go into Gachi Gachi twice at all since I started testing this deck, so I think I'm going to take out 1 Gachi Gachi for Giga Brilliant so that I can have a rank 3 XC, and I can make my tour guide plays instantly make my Chaos Monsters live. So let me know what you guys think. This is definitely the deck that I'm liking a lot in the format. So talk to you guys later.